The basis for wireless communication is to have spectrum. If you don't have that, then and if the competitor gets the 3G spectrum, then you are blocked out.
What I remember about the spectrum auctions was stories of 12 telephones in a room waiting to receive the bids from the operators, and with the objective being to make the bids as high as possible.
We were following the first auctions very, very closely, of course, online, seeing what's happening, and we couldn't believe the sums that came up. It was a lot of money that was paid in spectrum license fees.
This would become a problem for our industry, and also realization of that technology weren't really ready, and we went into a deep recession period.
Those were terrible days. We reduced basically half the workforce within Ericsson.
It was very quiet. It's like a lot of people left the party. There was not so many people that had a sense of urgency in trying to meet you or trying to invest in your company or trying to listen to your idea. A lot of people just sat like this and said, I knew that all along, and we didn't do anything. And that was the strategy. Look at me, I'm very strategic. A lot of those guys are not around anymore right now.
At the same time, people started to maybe question the mobile broadband idea as such. And it didn't happen.
ヨーロッパとかは周波数のオークションとかがあるから、それでオペレーターが非常に財務上苦しくなる時期はあったと思うんですけど、日本では実はそれがまだ導入されてなくて、その分だけやはり周波数っていうのは政府から借りている一定期間運用できるという形でできている分だけ元気だったんではないかなと。
Everyone, realized that the market will come back because the end users, they were still happy. It was just the infrastructure people that couldn't build the network. So if you look at Nokia, they didn't have a problem. They was just sailing through this because people still bought a lot of devices. So it was still a healthy business. So from that perspective, it was just a matter of getting through the dark years.
The first generation 3G handsets that came out in 2003, they were really, really poorly performing, and they were kind of an evidence how difficult and how immature this industry was when it came to mobile data.
If you want to use a service, you had to click 6 times and still you would not find the page you wanted. So it was very cumbersome.
Mobile broadband in 3G wasn't really invented as a service. So what you got when you got the 3G subscription was a bigger phone with shorter battery life and no real differentiator except for the possibility to make video calls.
ただ一番最初に、ロンドンか何かと東京でビデオテレフォニーを成功した時はやっぱり嬉しかったですね。
So that was the differentiator. 2G, 3G, basically, I can make video calls, given that the other person also had a 3G phone, so he could receive your video calls. And it's very hard to sell the first phone, because who would you call? So you had to sell in pairs. And we were back to that model in 2001. That was sort of 100-year-old, that you had to start selling things in pairs, because otherwise there was nobody to talk to.
そういった意味ではビデオテレフォニーというのは面白いファンクションではあったんですが、やっぱりお客様に欲しいニーズがあるメインのプロダクトにはあまりならなかったっていうのはやっぱりちょっと残念でしたけど。
Well, certainly there was high expectations with the dot-com era, and with it bursting, it took some of the momentum out of 3G. But as I think a lot of people would agree, the early days of 3G, the expectations were probably a bit higher than the technology could deliver, and it took that move to HSPA before 3G really showed us what it could do.
Unplug. Let's rethink mobile broadband.